الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. Welcome to another episode of the Heroes of Karbala, where we are discussing the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. And we mentioned previously that the notable and important characteristic of the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is their unwavering loyalty. The fact that they not only are they with Imam Hussein alayhi salatu salam when the times are good, but they're also with Imam Hussein alayhi salam when the time is of adversity, of difficulty, when there is nothing in sight except for death and destruction. And the reason that they are with Imam Hussein alayhi salatu salam even in these difficult times is because of their view and focus on the hereafter, on the akhirah. That they know that even though we will not get any benefit, anything in the dunya, but what we will receive in the hereafter, what we will receive in the akhirat will be much better and much greater than anything that we would get in the dunya. Amongst the people, as we've mentioned, amongst the people who've joined Imam Hussein alayhi salatu salam are people who are from the time of the Holy Prophet of Islam and are very old. There are people who are from the time of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Then there are people from the time after that. Amongst the people who are from the time of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salatu salam, a very important personality, a very important individual from the time of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam is Nafi Ibn Hilal Jamali. Nafi Ibn Hilal is originally from Yemen, and he's one of known and notable and mentioned in the books of Ansab as a notable person, a noble person from Arabia, and also amongst the bravest people known from his time. He was, as mentioned, a companion of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, and then he joined Imam Hussein alayhi salam at the Battle of Karbala, and eventually he was killed in the Battle of Karbala. He was from the Banu Jamal tribe, which was part of the Madhaji tribe from Yemen. And this Madhaji tribe has many people and many individuals who are present in Karbala, because this tribe is known for their love and devotion and loyalty towards Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu salam. He's from amongst the companions of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, and he had participated with Imam Amirul Mu'mineen in all the battles, in the Battle of Jamal, in the Battle of Siffin, and also in the Battle of Nahrawan. This is important because at the time of the Battle of Karbala, there are people who participated in the battles with Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. So there are some people who participated with Imam Amirul Mu'mineen in the Battle of Jamal and in the Battle of Siffin. But at the end of the Battle of Siffin, they went against Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Al-ayadu billah, they accused Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam of having committed kufr. Al-ayadu billah. And then they came against him at the Battle of Nahrawan. And these were the Khawarij. However, after that, there's some people who went against Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, but they did not participate in the Battle of Nahrawan. And they were hidden and they were unknown, and people didn't know about them and their reality and what were they about in the battle of, after the Battle of Siffin. They went quiet and they became unknown. However, when the time for the Battle of Karbala came, their reality came out. some of the people who participated with Imam Amirul Mu'mineen in the Battle of Jamal and in the Battle of Siffin are important people from the city of Kufa. For example, Umar ibn Sa'ad, for example, Shimr ibn Dil Joshan, for example, Qais ibn Ash'ath. These are some of the people who participated with Imam Amirul Mu'mineen in the battles, but in the battle of Karbala they are opposing Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. So it's important to know that there are people who participated with Imam Amirul Mu'mineen in the battles for their own reasons, for their own personal worldly benefits and gains, or for their opposition towards the Syrians at the time. But when they realized that there are better gains to be had from a worldly point of view from the Yazid army, then they joined the Yazid army and they went against Imam Hussein alayhi salam, having fought with and on the same side as Imam Hussein alayhi salam in previous battles. So this is important to know. Nafi Ibn Hilal is amongst the ones who fought with Imam Amirul Mu'mineen, and now he has joined Imam Hussein alayhi afdalu salatu wasalam. In addition to the fact that he is very brave and he is an expert swordsman and an expert in archery, he is also a great scholar who was an expert in the knowledge of hadith. There's an istilah in the terminology of ilmul hadith. If a person is called a hafiz, then it means that person knows 100,000 ahadith. That person knows 100,000 ahadith by heart. Person known as hafiz in ilm al-Quran, it means that person is a hafiz of the Holy Quran. They know the whole Quran by heart, by memory. They have memorized the whole Quran. But in ilm al-hadith, if a person is a hafiz or hafiz of hadith, it means that person knows 100,000 ahadith by memory. So amongst the people who considered hafiz from the side of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen was Nafi Ibn Hilal. So in addition to being brave, he is also a scholar, he is also an expert in hadith, he is also an expert in writing. So it's important to know and mention and reflect over this point, that when we reflect over the story of Karbala, we're reflecting over the fact that we too are followers of an Imam who is waiting for us, and he will demand these same things from us as well. So it's not sufficient to be a expert or a ability in one particular field, but rather the people who will serve the Imam and be considered the special people around the Imam will be people who are multifaceted in all the fields. He had left Kufa and then came to join Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam on the way towards between Kufa and Karbala. He had left Kufa before Muslim ibn Aqil alayhi afdalu salatu wasalam was killed. So after the killing of Muslim ibn Aqil, the city of Kufa had curfew, people were not able to leave or enter the city of Kufa, everything had been sealed. But this was before the killing of Muslim ibn Aqil that he had left and joined Imam Hussein alayhi salam. On the night of Ashura, Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam comes out of the tent in order to inspect the battlefield. When he comes out of the tent, it's very late at night. Everybody is busy in the recitation of Quran, or sharpening their swords, or doing adhkar. Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam has come out. When he comes out very late at night, Nafi Ibn Hilal notices that Imam alayhi salatu wasalam has come out. So he also comes out of his tent and he is following behind at a short distance. Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, whilst he's walking and he's facing the battlefield, he calls out and he says, "Who is it that's behind me?" Nafi Ibn Hilal says that when Imam Hussein alayhi salam called out and he asked, I stopped, that maybe my walking was making a sound that Imam alayhi salam could hear, so I stopped. When I stopped, then the Imam turned around and he asked me. Nafi Ibn Hilal says that, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, I felt or I feel as though I shouldn't leave you alone, that you're going out, that you've come out of your tent at this time by yourself and you're alone. And I don't feel comfortable that you should go out alone, that's why I came out of my tent. Imam Hussein salam takes Nafi and he goes towards the battlefield. When he goes into the battlefield, he stops at various places. Where he stops at those places, he informs Nafi about why he stopped at those particular places. And he stops and he says that this is the place where Hur will be killed. This is the place where Habib will be killed. This is the place where Zuhair will be killed. This is the place where Muslim will be killed. This is the place where you will be killed. Then he keeps on going further, and then he starts to recount the places where Bani Hashim, the people from the family of Imam Hussein are going to be killed. And he stops at a place and he says that this is the place where Qasim's body will be trampled by the hooves of the horses and be trampled into pieces, and then I will collect those pieces. Then he goes further and he tells Nafi about the place where Ali al-Akbar will come down from the horse and receive a spear in his chest. Then he goes even further and he says this is the place where I will be standing and a three-pronged arrow will come and kill my 6-month-old child. Then he goes towards the Alqami river and he says this is the place where Abu Fadl Abbas will go to get the water tomorrow, and his hands will be cut off, and then he will come off the horse and he will be killed. Finally they reach a place in the battlefield where Nafi is looking very confused. He looks up, he looks down, he looks right, left, he looks all over. And the Imam says to him, Nafi, what are you looking at? What are you looking for? And he says, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, ever since we came to this place, I hear the sound of a old lady crying. And she's crying as though her son has died. She's crying in a way, she's weeping over him in a way that as though her son has died. And Imam Hussein salam sighs and he says to Nafi, he says, this is the place where I will come off of the horse and I will be killed. And that person who you hear crying is my mother Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha. And this happens on the night of Ashura when he tells Nafi. And then Nafi relates this later on. On the morning of Ashura, his wife comes to stop him and says to him that, why are you going towards the battlefield? Don't you know or don't you understand that if you go towards the battlefield, and then what's going to happen to me? Who's going to look after me after you die? Imam alayhi salam hears this conversation between Nafi and his wife, and he says to him, he suggests to him that he shouldn't participate in the battle. He says to him, you can leave, you can go, you are free to go, your wife doesn't want you to participate in this battle, you can go. He refuses. He says to his wife that this is what is the benefit for dunya and akhirah. I'm going to go to the battlefield and not leave Imam Hussein by himself. He goes to the battlefield. It's mentioned that when he goes to the battlefield, he had written his name on all the arrows. And then he would shoot the arrows saying, I shoot it and its tips trained in poison on the wind born to fill the earth with shots, and the soul is not benefited by fear at all. He mentioned, one of the narratives mentioned that he has 80 arrows. Each one of those arrows are fired and he hits a target and he kills 80 people as a result of the arrows that he fired. In the Battle of Karbala, there are two brothers. There's one brother, Amr ibn Qarda, who is with Imam Hussein alayhi salam, but his brother Ali ibn Qarda is with the enemy forces, is with Umar ibn Sa'd. When Amr ibn Qarda is killed, Ali ibn Qarda comes out from the enemy camp and he accuses Imam Hussein والسلام, of misguiding billah, and saying that because of you my brother was killed. Imam al-Islam replies to him, says to him, it is not your brother who was misguided, rather it's you who's misguided. And your brother was on the right path. When he hears this, he becomes enraged, he becomes angry. And he says, either I will kill you, to Imam Hussein salam, or Allah kill me. Hilal ibn Nafi fires a lance at him. And it, as a result of that, overpowers him. When he falls off the horse, the enemies come to save him and take him away. Otherwise, Hilal ibn Nafi was able to or attempting to kill him. Another man came out and he said, I am on the religion of so-and-so. Another prominent individual's name he mentioned. Hilal replied, rather you are on the religion of Satan. And he killed him. When he killed him, Amr ibn Hajjaj from the enemy forces shouts out to his people and he says, you don't know who you're fighting. This is Nafi Ibn Hilal and you will not be able to overpower him. So don't fight him one-on-one. When they realize that if they try to fight him one-on-one, he will overpower them and kill them, then they surround him from all sides. When they surround him from all sides, then he cannot fight anymore. He's arrested and he's brought to Ibn Sa'd. He is smeared in blood and he's very weak from all the heat and the fighting. And he says, if I was not in this state, if I was not in this position, then you could never have overpowered me. And he is injured from all sides because of the stones that have been thrown on him and have been shot at him by the enemies. Then Shimr and his soldiers carry him to Ibn Sa'd. They have a conversation. When they have a conversation, then at the conclusion of that conversation, Umar ibn Sa'd tells his people, kill him. They surround him and then they kill him. When he's killed, there's a dispute and a debate over who killed him. When Umar ibn Sa'd hears that they're fighting over the fact that who killed Nafi ibn Hilal, he calls out to them and he says that it is not one person who killed Nafi, but rather it is not possible for one person to kill him. He was too brave to be killed by one person. Rather, all of you together came forward and killed him. This is why Hilal ibn Nafi, because he is known for his such bravery, that Umar ibn Sa'd ends this argument by saying it was not possible for one of you, one individual of you to kill him. These are the companions of Imam Hussein ﷺ, notable in their bravery, in their knowledge, in their akhlaq, in their conviction towards the faith and towards Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi afdalus salatu wassalam. This is the story and the lesson and the message from the story of Karbala, that when you have this love of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam inside you, then it makes you so powerful and free of fear from all and every kind of enemy. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين.